All right, guys, welcome to the Phys Ed Summit from ESPEchat. This is our second summit, and we greatly thank Phys Edagogy crew for paving the way for high quality professional development. My name is Stephanie Sandino, and we are here and we are live going to talk about bringing Phys Ed home with William Potter, aka Will Potter. If you're joining us live today, please use the Tozzle page so you can join the discussion. You can find the Tozzle page at espechat.weebly.com. Just click on ESPEchat Summit and then go to 2016 schedule. You'll find all of the links to each of the Tozzles for all of the presenters today on this page. Since we are using a lot of tech for our sessions, things can go wrong. So if you're experiencing some difficulties, either use the Tozzle chat to let us know or send us a message on Twitter. So there's two best ways you can reach us. If we have a major problem, we'll get the presenter back as quickly as possible, and we'll post the links on the Tozzle and on Twitter so you guys can hop back on and watch the presentation continue and flow. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please use the Tozzle chat. We're going to hold the questions until the end, so I'll give all of your questions over to Will when he's done with his presentation, and hopefully you'll get some awesome answers. Keep the discussion going on live. I will be on the Tozzle, so we'll have a good time. We'd also love to see you posting on social media what you're learning here at the Phys Ed Summit. So don't forget to use the ESPEchat and Phys Ed hashtags, whether you're on Twitter or whatever platform you're on. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing Mr. Will Potter. I had the awesome chance to get to know him a year ago at EPW, so he got a great presentation coming along. He is from Northern California, specifically Belmont, city of Belmont, and that is south of San Francisco. His school is Serendipity School. He's a physical education teacher, specifically grades pre-K through 5. So again, without further ado, here is Mr. Will Potter.
Hey, everybody. This is a little strange for me, but this is my first time doing a webinar, but hopefully it goes well. As Stephanie said, I am a physical education instructor in Northern California, on the peninsula just south of San Francisco. I've been lucky enough to be at my school for 15 years, or just shy of 15 years. In that time, I have developed relationships that and friendships which I would consider to be lifelong. And the initially when Matt came to me and asked me to present some ideas on how to bridge that homeschool connection, I thought, oh, well, it takes time. But then I thought about some other things, and I'm going to share them with you. So we'll get started. All right. Let's go ahead and get this screen share started. All right. Stephanie, are we good with the screen share?
You are good, Will. I can see it perfectly clear.
All right. All right, here we go. So when I was growing up, my parents knew little to nothing about my physical education experience. At the elementary level, I didn't have PE at all, none. And in middle school, when my parents would ask how my day was, I typically would grunt something at them, some teen angsty, puberty-ridden version of "it was fine." And then once was high school, as much as I loved PE, it wasn't something that my parents were worried about or concerned about. This is, of course, my perception of what my parents knew, and it could be clouded by the fog of time. But when I started setting up this presentation, I asked my parents, and they confirmed, like, yeah, we met all of your teachers, but we really didn't have any day-to-day interaction or any real interaction with your physical education teachers. And then as I got into college and I worked towards my degree, I came across study after study that showed that parental involvement in education mattered. that the more parents were aware of what was happening in school, the better a child would perform. And I'm pretty sure we all would agree that a positive homeschool connection is something beneficial and desirable from both sides. So let's take just a second and consider how we're perceived by parents, coworkers, administration, or even the community. I don't know about your specific situation, but when I arrived at my first day of work, I was surprised at how little I was thought of. Now, don't get me wrong, I was well respected by my coworkers. I was looked at as a peer, but you know, the kind of peer who isn't teaching a real subject. A colleague even told me thanks for the prep, as if I was there just to give him a break. Initially, I was a peripheral teacher, someone whose subject matter was a luxury item, structured recess. Now, when you think about your experience, was it much different? What was the perception people had when you arrived at your school? Perception is a fickle thing. Nietzsche once said, whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. And in a way, we've allowed pop culture, the media, and a bad experience for some of us to lead to a poor perception of what physical education is. That interpretation probably looks a lot like this. Dodgeball, right? Last month, while I was attending a high school reunion, a former classmate discovered that I and 2 other students in our year became physical educators, which to me leads me to believe that we had fantastic physical educators in high school. But to this person who thought he was clever, he used some awesome corporate jargon voice, and he referred to us as dodgeball facilitators. And I stared at him in disbelief. I was unable to believe that people still had that perception of what I did, of the entire profession. Now, I don't think we are dodgeball facilitators. I mean, I'm not. Are you? Probably not. In reality is, you wouldn't be here on a Saturday morning if you were. But how do we go from perception to reality? Here are some things that I do that I'm really proud of. If I was given only 6 images to explain why my physical education program was unique, these are the 6 I would choose. Each of these photos represents something I think makes PE at Serendipity amazing. I do physical activity. I do fitness games. I work with a great community and family. I incorporate math and science into my curriculum. We have fun and we explore. I mean, those 6 things right there pretty much sum up what PE at Serendipity is on a very general level. So how do we get parents to see what we do on a day-to-day basis? What are you proud of? How do you share it? Do you connect with parents? And if you do, how do you connect them to your PE program? What are the ways that you bridge the gap? This is a question that I asked myself, and I took some time to think and reflect about what I do to collaborate with parents. While doing so, I came up with 4 I words that I think encapsulate my thinking and represent my goals when bridging the homeschool gap. These words are inform, instruct, include, and impress. Now, since I'm a sucker for alliteration and I can't help myself, let's investigate what that means. Let's start with inform. Informing parents of what you do, when you do, and how you're doing it is the first and easiest way to bridge the gap between a child's school day and home life. Newsletters, websites, and more recently, social media have become great channels for ways that you can connect with parents. Sending home a newsletter is an easy way to inform parents about PE. What's more, in this new digital age, newsletters don't have to be plain, boring, verbose, or static. A digital newsletter in PDF form can be quickly emailed home, and with some basic tech know-how, You can add clickable links or embed videos into those newsletters. If you inform parents of what you're doing with a newsletter, they are more likely to ask meaningful questions to their children, and the pathways of connection will begin to open. Regardless of your preferred communication method, sending information home is a huge key to bridging that homeschool gap. What they know versus what they're guessing makes all the difference. Now, I could sit here and talk to you about how websites, blogs, newsletters, and social media are fantastic ways to communicate with parents. And you could see that better if I show you what I do. So rather than talk about those things all day, I'll just put up my information in a shameless plug, and you can take a look. These will be available both here in this keynote, and then I'll put them on the Tozzle page as well for later with links. These are the places that I use to inform my parents of what's going on in PE, and it has become a great method of informing parents. So now let's move from inform to instruct. Now, instructing parents isn't so much about telling people what you're doing in PE classes. It's not about showing what you're doing in class. It's more about showing parents what quality physical education is, what it's become, and it's about changing the mindset of parents. The best way that you can communicate how physical education has become a valuable part of education is having meaningful conversations with parents, participating in school-wide open houses, and designing and creating info boards. Now, I really like info boards. This is an example of an info board I created to explain physical literacy. Info boards or bulletin boards are what I use to share and convey messages to parents and students. Usually my info boards are geared more towards subjects I want to share with parents, but I am always sure to use kid-friendly language so that students who are interested can learn about the subject as well. Info boards can be about anything, and if done with some forethought, can last for years. Always make sure to display info boards where you know parents will see them. There is no substitute for casual parents who walk by and see, oh, this is physical literacy, and I keep hearing this word from my kids and from information the school sends me. What is it? And they can just see this board and totally understand it. So let's go from instruct to include. This is going to be a big part of bridging the gap. Now, I know that including parents into a physical education program is scary. It's nerve-wracking. It's stressful. For some of us, it's a lot of red tape and paperwork. And not only that, but for most of us who can talk in front of a room full of children for hours and not blink an eye, we put one parent in the room, and then all of a sudden we get more ticks than a sleeping bag after a camping trip. Now, while it may be out of our comfort zone to do so, including parents in the classroom is the best way to show off what you do, how you do it. The way that I include parents in my PE program is with an annual Bring Your Parents to PE Week. Now, if you haven't heard of Bring Your Parents to PE Week, you might be asking, what is Bring Your Parents to PE Week? Bring Your Parents to PE Week is a week-long event that I started doing in 2006. I use my regular teaching schedule. I use my classes as normal. They all meet as usual. But for this week, parents are invited to participate with their child. Now, I have an open door policy. Parents can come watch me anytime they want. But this week is special because they get to play and learn and do with their children. It is definitely a learn by doing event. My primary desire when I began this week was to promote the PE program at my school. I wanted to show parents my value as a teacher and show them what PE really was. I wanted them to understand that PE was more than just nonsense, fun, and games. I wanted to be taken seriously. I wanted parents to know that real learning, kinesthetic learning, was happening. In my mind, I thought even if I wasn't taken seriously, that the event would be a great way to explain to parents what I do every day. Now, after 10 years of bringing your parents to PE events, I don't know why I ever doubted doing it, and I encourage everyone who hasn't done one to start one. So let's talk about how to start one. Starting a Bring Your Parents to PE week begins with promotion. You're going to pick a day early in the school year, usually after the first month when your students have started learning the routines and day-to-day expectations. Once you set a date, you're going to send out email flyers and schedules. This is going to tell parents when to come and what the event is about. As the event gets closer, you're going to send out a weekly reminder to parents to RSVP for the event, usually online, evites, or even just a weekly reminder email or a newsletter. RSVPs are really important because it's just going to tell you how many people to expect so that you're sure to have enough equipment available for everyone. And then if you have social media, you can use it to notify parents and get the community excited for the event. My school has a social media page. I as well have a social media page, and I am constantly updating both of those as the event gets closer. You need to be creative in your style, consistent in your message, and overall persistent. You can't let a day go by where you're not talking about the event. The more you promote the event, the more excited people will be, and the greater the turnout you'll have. This year, I created an iMovie trailer for my event, and you're gonna just check this out right now. Every time I see that trailer, I get fired up. I want to do the week all over again. It's like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, that is promotion, promotion, promotion. It's all about getting the bodies into the room. Once they're in the room, what do? Well, when I plan my classes for the week, I'm always sure to include the following elements. I will do a team building or a group challenge, something that brings the community or the class together. I'll do a fitness game or activity. I'll do a dance, and I'll do a cross-curricular activity. Now, I see my students twice a week. So if you see those students twice a week, you can split them up 50-50. If you see them 4 times a week, you could do it differently. If you see them once a week, you just have to cram it all in. It's the best way to do it. When I am planning this event, I work hard to create experience that showcase as many different and unique things as I can. So I rarely will repeat the same thing over different classes. I want to demonstrate to everyone that my PE program is special and why it's special. If your PE program has other highlights that you think are awesome, that you love to do, you make sure that you show them, because that is the best representation of what you do. And then during the event, it's important to remember some things. You want to keep it safe, because injured parents don't make for longtime friends or PE allies. That's not just physically safe, but emotionally safe as well. You want to keep it fun. Don't let parents get too competitive. Remind them to take it easy. One year I had a third grade class, and this little slip of a woman who was maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, playing noodle hockey with third graders, and she was hip checking them and knocking them over. And I had to take her aside and tell her, look, I know that you are probably smaller than half of these kids, but you're way too aggressive and you got to bring it down. And she didn't even realize, like, she was just so into the game, and that happens. But it's important to make sure that they're keeping it fun. You want to model best practices. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to be yourself. Of course, be yourself, but be your best self. And remember also to take lots of pictures and video. They'll come in handy later. They'll become promotional events, and you'll see how I use them in a second. When I do this event, I'm always sure to invite certain individuals. I invite classroom teachers. Our second grade teacher, she's up there in the left-hand corner. She came to the event, and it was fantastic. Her kids looked at her differently and had a lot of fun with her. And at the end of it, she was like, oh my God, I never realized how much you actually do in PE. So it's all about changing hearts and minds right there. I've invited administrators. That in the bottom left-hand corner, that's my principal who comes every year. And this year she brought her mom. I bring my parents. That's my dad, who's super awesome and a great sport. He came this week. And then also special friends or grandparents. Now, with work schedules, parents don't always get to make it. And you got to make sure that families know that they can send approved special guests so that their child gets to share their experience in PE with somebody that they care about. My favorite thing to say is that the game is never more important than the people you play with. It's something I heard a long time ago from Pat Vickroy, and it stuck with me. And this is one of the things that helped me create the event. Now, after the event, there are some things that I like to do, and this is where the real outreach work exists. First, at the end of every class, I'll say thank you. Immediately, I'll let parents know and remind them that without them, this would just be a normal day of PE. Later that day, I'll send a personalized thank you email to participants. And whenever possible, I'll include one of the photos that I took of them or of their child or of both. Another thing I'll do with the photos I take is create a slideshow to promote the event for the future. And also, you know, everybody likes to see what happened all week long, not just in their specific class. And of course, I'll always share my success with other professionals. I like to inspire other people, and I want others to try it as well. Now, including parents in PE definitely brings us to our last I, which is impress. Impressing parents isn't about what you know or what you do. It's about giving parents that feeling that their child is experiencing something special in PE. You want to leave parents lasting memories that they will cherish. Now, throughout the year, I'll give parents digital and physical takeaways that they can see, keep, and save for the future. These memory tokens will remind them of your PE program for far longer than the memory of who won a game or what the score was or what they actually learned. Now, I talked a little bit about that when I mentioned the personalized thank you notes that I send after Bring Your Parents to PE, but here are some other easy ways that you can do it. An end of the year slideshow, a student of the week photo, or rubric board playing cards. Rubric board playing cards, I don't know if you know what a rubric board is, but if you were here for any of Terry's sessions, she may have mentioned it as well. But a rubric board is something that I use in my PE classes. And the rubric board playing card is something that our moderator, Stephanie Sandino, inspired me to create. At the elementary physical workshop at Cal Poly this year, she gave each presenter a unique playing card that she designed in Comic Life. Then when I decided to implement a rubric board this summer, I couldn't think of a better way to do it. I took her playing card idea and I created one for every student. They are magnetic, and at the end of the year, I'll be giving them to my students with notes saying, thank you for a great year. Hopefully, they'll end up on refrigerators at homes throughout our community, and PE will become something that is seen every day. Let's talk for a second about Student of the Week photo. The Student of the Week photo is something else you can give parents and students that doesn't require much work. Each week, I pick a Student of the Week in my school. Now, if you work at a larger school, pick one student for each class so that more people get a chance to be in the spotlight. But for me, I pick one for the whole school. That student gets high fives from the entire community all week, and at the end of the week, they get to keep the picture of themselves. On the back of the picture, I'll write a short note congratulating them and encouraging them to keep up the good work. You can see there that I've written a note to one of my students on the back. We use the acronym CLEAR as our school-wide learning results, and Squirrel Strong is our motto since our squirrels are our mascot. So you can see that there. An end of the year slideshow. Now, many of you have probably put together end of the year slideshows before. They're fantastic ways to showcase your PE program. And usually I premiere mine at my school's open house on a loop. It'll just play over and over again in the background while they're looking at other things that I do. But here's a trailer I made for last year's slideshow that I put online for parents to see so that they'd get excited about coming to PE at open house. It gets people really excited about open house, and because I am on the playground during open house, not a lot of people come see me. So putting information online ahead of time is a fantastic way to get parents to come and see me. So those are the 4 I's, the 4 I concepts for bridging the gap. Now that we've gone over them, I want to go back to my first question that I asked you. How are you viewed by your school community? If you did some or all of the things that we've discussed, would you be seen differently? Would you finally be supported by the faculty and administration? Would you achieve more support from the community? Now, if you're thinking, it's a lot for me to do, or I don't think I can do all of that at once, I understand, but don't worry. I didn't implement all of these at once. I picked one every year and added to what I was already doing. And I know it takes work, but it's worth it because there's no shortcuts in any place worth going. Once you got there, I'm sure you'll be happy you did the work. Thank you for being a part of this session. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to collaborate with you. Part of the reason I like doing presentations is I get to meet new people and take new ideas and share. So let's share.
All right, well, so you had a couple questions. First one's coming from Ryan, and he wants to know, how do you reach your parents that are not literate in any language? And if you don't have, that same demographic, maybe some advice you can give Ryan.
So I don't have that demographic. My school is primarily English speakers. We have some grandparents who are foreign born or live overseas. And a lot of times I will leave it up to the parents to translate anything. But anything you do in English, you can easily, now that we have Google Translate, probably just convert it into Spanish. The handwritten note type things, that can be a little tricky if you're not a bilingual, which I'm not. But I would probably type what I'd want to say into Google Translate and then transcribe it just as it's come out. And that may not be the most accurate way to communicate, but I'm sure that they would understand that English wasn't your first language.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking on the side puzzle about different things that, different teachers were doing, whether it was a video and adding pictures or GIFs, and maybe even just going back old school and sending newsletters old paper way. So
yeah, and the nice thing is that even if you send a newsletter, like a digital newsletter that I send out to parents, if you print it out, it still looks fantastic, even with the embedded video, as you can see in my example. I send out a printed version of that as well, with the video embed just as an image, a still image. And so it still looks great, even if they can't see it. Usually at the bottom of the link, I'll put a hard copy link, text link that they can type into their computer to see the video.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the things he was mentioning was they also have very little text, so paper is definitely the way to go. And Kristen mentioned that the kids can create their own boards, like info boards, where they can bring it home and show their parents, which is also awesome because it's something that they can explain to them, whether they can read the writing or not. The kids can always explain it, and that's really good because then the kids are getting extra practice with whatever it is they're trying to come across with whatever message. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Another question you had was from Kristen regarding your parents entering your school on Bring Your Parents to Phys Ed. Do you have to get parents fingerprinted or background checked on this?
I do not. The school has an open door policy for any parents. So they've already filled out any insurance information, signed any waivers about being on campus. If your school doesn't have that, I know Terry sends out waivers in advance with their newsletters and their promotional items so that they can get those permission slips back, because Terry Drain does it as well. And she is in a different situation than I'm at. My school is already got all of that in place, so it makes it very easy for me to do something like that.
Awesome.
So fingerprints and background checks aren't really necessary.
Yeah, I was also mentioning that at my district they just needed to sign in, and then if they were volunteering, then they would obviously have to go through a next step, whether it was being fingerprinted or background checked. So it's really just when they're interacting with the kids and helping out with academics, then they needed to be background checked, or it could be non-academic things as well.
Yeah. Before Bring Your Parents to PE Week, I used to do, when I had a gym at a different school, I would do a PE night where it was just parents, and that was fine too, and also didn't require background checks or fingerprinting because there was no real interaction with other kids. But I like this one better because it creates memories, and it creates something that parents will remember and the kids will remember. Like, there are no words to describe what a kid's face or what a child's face looks like when they see their mom or dad come to school and come to PE, come ready to play. I mean, it is unlike anything else. And in the same token, there's no words to express the joy that you'll see on a parent's face when they are throwing a penguin through a hula hoop. Like, you don't ever see that in a grown adult's face, and it's far and away one of the best things that you'll ever see.
Yeah, and I totally think your pictures in your presentation speak a thousand words. So it's really awesome, and it shows, and you've captured that in photos, whether that's just a little bit of what you see every year. We have gotten just a little piece of that, and it's so awesome. I'm sure you've seen so many awesome things throughout the years that you've put this on, and thank you for in capturing that in photos because we get to, be a part of that for a little bit, at least while you were presenting. Another question you had from Ryan Weiser, do you share the slideshow through email or your iMovie trailers through email? Because I know he was talking about he wasn't able to share his slideshow, only the slide that their child was on.
So again, my school has a pretty lengthy preschool packet, or preschool as in before school starts packet. And one of the things that they include is a photo and video waiver. So all of the kids in the photos and videos that I've shown here have agreed to be in an online presence for my school, including anything that we do, the after school program does. So they're online okay is what they've been signed off with. But typically the way that I share it with the community is through the Facebook page, the social media outlets, and the school website, because I know that not everybody has a social media presence, or schools don't necessarily have one. But if your school has a website, they ask your website administrator if you can post something. My school has a blog, so the blog we use to promote our school because we are a private school, and with our online OK kids, we can post them to our public areas. But we also have secured private areas where you have to log in. So I will also share kids who are not online OK pictures or slides or images. I'll share that way as well.
Right. Awesome. We're just getting some more questions here on the Tozzle. Ryan asked, what would be some advice you could give to a new phys ed teacher just starting out?
Oh, well, really delve into your community, get to know parents. It's hard, especially when you're new, to learn kids' names, but also learn parents' names. I will, especially when I was first starting out, I would say, oh, hey, that's James's mom, or that's Susie's mom. And if I can say, hey, Jill, or hey, Fred, like, instead of saying Jack's mom or Susie's dad, like that makes a big difference. They like to be identified for being individuals, like we all do. So that would be my first advice, is to really delve into your community, learn names, have conversations with parents, and they can start out with, oh, hey, how's it going? Did you see the Warrior game last night? Did you watch Letterman? Things like that. And then, once you build up a rapport, then you can have those meaningful conversations I was talking about earlier, where you're talking about physical literacy, and, they're not tuning you out because they're not bored or feeling like you're just there to talk about PE. You really get to know them.
Right. Definitely. And just being out there and, helping out with before school, with the pickup line or after school. So you're there, you're visible, you're being seen by all the parents who are dropping their kids off, picking their kids up. I think that's really important, saying hello in the morning at the gate, and more so towards elementary school where this is more possible. Middle school, it's more like drop the kids off and then go type of thing. So there's more availability or possibility to do it at an elementary school, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And as you get older, I would definitely encourage parents or encourage teachers to still invite parents, maybe just do it in a different format. Do it on a weeknight, or a night, a PE night or a game night or a monthly game night, where every month you bring the parents into the community, into your teaching space, and show them what you do, even if it's not with kids there. Elementary school does make it a lot more simpler to bring them in, but yeah.
Right. I know at my school they have, well, my new school at the middle school, they have the cross country run, but the parents are allowed to come. So you'll have parents doing the mile with the kids and, experiencing that whole jazz with them. And, the kids get to show their parents what the course looks like. And, some parents will bring a stroller and have the baby come along. So it's really a way to create community and really get to see what their kids are doing. I mean, that's just a little piece of what they do. Obviously, the mile run is, not, it's bigger at the middle school just because of the nature of the fitness test.
Right.
But it's a way to really create a bond and hopefully instill some exercise practice with the family. And it's something fun they can do. And it's something, they can take home and, go for a walk after school or go for a walk at night, walk their dog with their family, take a hike during the weekend. So it's really trying to instill that physical activity with the family and have that bond, which is pretty cool. I think it goes deeper than just, it's the mile run. The thing behind it is the physical activity component and just exercising with your family and spending some quality time with each other.
Absolutely. This year, for winter break, I'm going to send home a sort of like a calendar, but it's also kind of bingo. It's a fitness bingo for the holiday, the 2 weeks that we're gone. And students will get recognition if they complete a bingo line or a blackout line. They'll do different levels of recognition if they can complete those challenges over the course of the week or the 2 weeks. And they're going to be things like, go for a walk, the Christmas plank challenge, things like that, like unwrap a present while sitting in a plank, things like fun little things, but it's also sending it home and getting them to be interactive. And that's not something that takes any time. It's a printed thing that goes home and they have it on their refrigerator. And like, when I talk about sticking things to the refrigerator, like when I was a kid, that was our home baseboard, like if anything needed to happen, it got stuck to the refrigerator. And I feel like that still happens in a lot of households. And the more things you can stick up there that say PE on them, the better off I think we as a profession will be as far as our perception.
For sure. I definitely agree. We have another question coming in. What time of the year do you feel is the best way to reach parents, beginning, middle, end? And I think Ryan is kind of hinting where there's a lot of info to be shared, so much things going on. So really, like, how do you slowly start bringing this topic about and start sharing and saying, okay, it's coming up. Okay, we're starting this.
Yeah, that is true. Like in August, there is just a ginormous amount of information going out right before the school year. So we set our calendar, our school calendar in June. So that's already once June is set up, we have the dates of when our Bring Your Parents to PE event will be. That's when I'll first send out an email saying, hey, this is coming up, and then the flyer might just be a save the date, because parents getting out of work, they might need a month in advance notice. So I'll send out a save the date kind of a notice real early, and then with the back to school packets, I'll usually send another info sheet with what Bring Your Parents to PE is and what to expect from the event. And then usually, since we go like this year, our event was the end of September, and we had been in school for about 4 or 5 weeks. So about 2 weeks before the event, I sent the schedule home to parents, which was, kindergarten is at this time and this time, first grade is at this time and this time, and that whole information. And at the bottom of it, I said, RSVP. And then all the while that's happening, I'm sending out pings, like an email once a week or a countdown message, things like that. My school has an online calendar, and I will just ask the calendar administrator to put in a notice that, 17 days till bring your parents to PE as a calendar item. Sort of like a digital reminder to parents, which
Right.
is fantastic. And then those parents that don't use the digital version get some hard copy stuff throughout the six-ish weeks between the start, the back to school time in mid to late August to the end of September.
Awesome.
So yeah, it does sound like you're gonna be banging a drum over and over again, and you might think, oh, I'm just beating a dead horse, but you have to remember that not everybody is going to see everything at all times. So it's best to just beat that dead horse until you're sure that everybody has seen it.
Very cool. And I completely agree. I mean, last year I was, really honing in on trying to reach out to my community, and it's really just being persistent. And I mean, I guess you kind of want to go overboard, but at the same time, obviously you want to be persistent and, share all the types of things and activities that you're doing. And I really thought that put me out there last year at my old school. So it's well worth it. And I don't think, it's never, I hope it's not. It's never to the point where it's quote unquote annoying. But yeah, for sure. So I think that's all the questions we have.
Awesome.
And I really want to thank you for spending your time this morning with us, Will, and being able to share such an awesome idea that you have in your classroom, and giving us a little window of what it's like for your awesome week. If people want to contact you, I know you had your contact info on that last slide, or
yeah, I'll put it back up real quickly. Do it right now. And there we go. I had a great time being here. I'm glad everybody who came participated and shared. That's my contact information. I absolutely want to hear if anybody does the event, what they do differently. One of the events I've seen a lot recently is color runs. I'm curious about that. So if you have information on a color run, I'd love to hear about it. Things like that.
awesome. So I know will be putting this on the Tozzle site. He's going to be uploading it onto there. So that will be for you guys to keep. And if you're really interested in what you saw today and want to see more of Will, do you have any plans of presenting anywhere? So where can people find you if they want to see another presentation?
I'll be doing a technology presentation, hopefully at Caperd. I still haven't heard confirmation back yet, and I'm hoping to hear back this week or so. And talking to you today, possibly the EPEW Cal Poly workshop, which is in July. So those would be, I think, my next two presentations that I have for sure lined up, or I'm considering, or have been considered to be lined up.
Okay, awesome. And I, from experience, have seen many of Will's presentations, and they are rad. I love them. RAD, capital letters, exclamation point. So if you like today, continue looking out for Will, because he's got some great stuff to share. He's got a Twitter page and Facebook page that's totally awesome, and he updates that pretty frequently. So
And I'm one of those few people that's very open source. So pretty much all of my sessions and all of my information is on free on my website. So you can check it out there for sure.
awesome. So last but not least, I want to thank everyone here, everyone who made it. I know this is a Saturday morning, so thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday morning to grow and to participate in professional development. You know, it's definitely not necessary, but it's so awesome to have you here and continuing your practice and making yourself better each and every day, and making sure that that translates into your students. So thank you, a million thank yous to everyone that was here and everyone that will be here watching later. Hopefully you guys get to store this somewhere, and we'll get to see what happened in earlier sessions and in later sessions, because I know we had a couple sessions going on at the same time. So we definitely appreciate it. So thanks again for coming to the Phys Ed Summit from ESPEchat. We will be archiving all of the sessions on YouTube, and we will post the links on the website. Again, it's espechat.weebly.com. If you are having any trouble trying to search for the sessions on our channel, you can definitely search in the search engine ESPEchat, and they should show up. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us on Twitter or on the Tozzle. That way we can help you out and get you to the sessions you want to see. So thank you again. Everybody have a great Saturday, have a great Sunday, and have a great week next week. Hopefully this has instilled fire, and this has instilled ideas of what you can start doing, whether it's immediately, whether it's a few months from now or next year. You're already thinking, your wheels are turning. Keep it going, and please don't forget to share with us what you're doing. We would love to see that. So thanks everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you later.
Bye.